Hello, heroes. Joe Smith here. Joe Smith, just I had a few more thoughts to share here. First of all, Joe Smith wants to apologize for the use of the naughty words in the last video. Joe Smith kind of really tries to refrain from using naughty words, but it's just all this BS, all this lies. It's like every time a Democrat opens their mouth, a Democrat politician, lies come out. Yeah, there's been some Republican politicians that have kind of lied, misspoke. Some may have just misspoke. Some were outright lies too. So yes, Republicans aren't exactly perfect either. Um, why we kind of need to get away from probably just the two-party system and get kind of more parties involved. Libertarians, Green Party perhaps. The beer party sounds appealing. So, in fact, Joe Smith put on his voter registration, the beer party. Right. So, apologies for the bad words. Joe Smith will try to stay a little bit more calmer in future videos, and just this whole summer, all this riots, all this looting, all this burning, hearing about all these little kids getting shot and killed in Chicago every weekend. It's just taking a toll here. And the anger just kind of boiled over a little bit. Uh, and, Democrats, the left, the liberals, they keep talking about all this systemic racism. They're like, well, blacks get treated unfairly by the judicial system, they claim. Um, they say that uh, blacks usually get stiffer or longer sentences for the same crimes versus whites, which sometimes may be true, but they say the reason why that is because blacks usually uh, end up with a public defender because they don't have money for a lawyer, uh, or else they just kind of take the plea bargain uh, because, well, they're probably guilty and just want to kind of go ahead and do as little time as possible and get it over with. At least they're owning up to their actions like a man. And they're saying that, well, whites get less of a sentence because they could afford lawyers. Well, here's an idea. How about these black people next time before they go rob the gas station or Foot Locker, steal their Nike shoes or whatever, steal their Jordans? How about if they go get a job, mow some yards, uh, stock some shelves at the store, flip some burgers, whatever, save up some money, and then that way they have a little bit of money saved up, so where they can actually afford the same lawyers that these white people supposedly use to get off easy and before they go commit their next crimes. Or here's the even better idea. You know how to end systemic racism in the judicial system? That if it does exist or whatever, well, how about this idea? How about we just tell black people to stop committing the crimes in the first place? Stop shooting little kids, stop using drugs, stop robbing stores, stop shooting each other. 90% or 90, at least 90%, 90 to 92, depending on the stats you look at, for the last 40, 50 years, of black people that were murdered by someone else were murdered by another black person. And yeah, about 80, 75, 80% of white people murdered are murdered by another white person. I mentioned this a couple other times, a couple other videos. So how about this? How about we all just stop murdering each other and start giving each other hugs? Or, well, can't really do that because virus or that, but smile and wave at people. And Joe Smith's kind of tired of all this Democrats saying, well, these people are just out peacefully protesting. It's these white supremacists. They're out there agitating things, like the Proud Boys and the Boogaloo Boys or whatever. It's like, well, have you not noticed? One of the chairmen or that of the Florida chapter of the Proud Boys is a black Cuban. There's a lot of black people and Hispanic people in those groups. So yeah, the Democrats are complaining about these black run, black led with black members, white supremacist groups. Like, really? Do the Democrats even get out of their mom's basement ever? These Democrat politicians? Even the politicians, like, do they ever leave their office or their $1 million house and actually go out and on the streets and see what's going on in their district? See who these people actually are that are out there protesting from either side and see what they're actually doing? Yeah, they're claiming that it's the right-wingers or that the conservatives are out there creating all the violence. Or they cite that, well, this one Boogaloo Boy member shot and killed this, what was a cop or security or a federal agent or something earlier in the summer. Where was that, Arizona or New Mexico, California, somewhere out that way. Well, first of all, are you sure he was actually a member? They're like, well, he claimed he was. Well, the others are claiming he wasn't. The group said he was never a member. He was just like a wannabe. He's just some whack or whatever. So, don't know for sure. But yeah, there probably are some wackos out there, wannabes in these groups or that. But all the violence that Joe Smith has been seeing on the news is coming from the left. You go to like one of these protests in the streets where you got the left on one side of the street and right on the other, the Trump supporters on the other side. It's like the Democrat side, the Biden supporters, are running across the street to yell in the faces of the Trump supporters, but the Trump supporters don't go across the street and do the same in return. They just kind of stay there and they don't touch anyone. Never seen a Republican Trump protester hit someone else, punch them, or hit them with a brick in the back of the head. All those instances were Biden supporters, Democrats, liberals, the left. Every single instance where someone was assaulted has been by Antifa or BLM or left, Biden supporters. Not just wrong, walking up to someone and hitting them in the back of the head with a brick. That's all been Democrats to the left. Antifa. You just don't do that. So, Biden, you really mean what you say? You support law and order? You want systemic racism to end? You want the nation to heal and be united? One nation under God, indivisible, with justice and liberty for all? Tell your troops, tell your supporters, tell your foot soldiers to go home. And quit sending them U-Haul trucks with signs and shields and umbrellas and Molotov cocktails and bricks. Tell them go home. Tell them go home, write letters to their mayor, to their city officials, their city council members, uh, school board members, the governor. Um, Go to their town meetings, town hall meetings for that. Don't a lot of towns or cities have like a month, like once a month, city council meetings where citizens can bring up issues and concerns they have. If you have concerns with the police in your area, go to a city council meeting, go to your town meeting, and take your turn on the floor and address city council members with your concerns about your local police. Write letters to your governors and your state representatives, state senators. Write letters to your federal Congress people and senators. Biden, tell people to go do that. Well, unfortunately, most of them can't because they're probably illiterate. They can't read and write. So, well, so Biden, those of your supporters out there on the streets that can't read and write, tell them, well, just write, me want free Nikes so me don't got flip burgers, and put a stamp on it and mail it to your local congressman. This isn't about race or that. It's about the left wants crime to be legalized so they don't have to get jobs, so they don't have to work, so they get free money. That's all it's about. Just the Democrats, the liberals, the left wanting free money, free stuff, so they don't have to work. That's nothing to do about race. They just don't want to go get a job and pay their fair share of taxes like the rest of us do. Like saying George Floyd didn't need to die. And George Floyd did a lot of things he didn't need to do. Because he kept doing things he didn't need to do, he did something else he didn't need to do, and that was die, unfortunately. But you know what? Instead of trying to spend fake bills, how did he get the fake bill? Did he spend real money on fake money? Or did he make it himself? The time he spent making it himself, well, he could have been making real money at a real job. How about that? So Smith's been to Minneapolis a couple times before. There's plenty of grass to cut there. There's plenty of snow to scoop in the winter time. Heck, he could probably make $500 a day cash scooping snow in the winter time. And probably $300-400 cash or $500 cash mowing lawns during the summer up there. There's plenty of restaurants and fast food places to cook at or wait tables at. There's plenty of gas stations to be cooks at. Plenty of businesses up there. Tool companies up there making tools in America. You'd be a proud employee of a tool company making tools in America, like Park Tool Company, bicycle tool company. And there's another tool company that makes some of the tools for Park that also makes tools for like Snap-on too. And there's plenty of jobs up there that these leftist extremist terrorists keep burning down all the jobs and businesses. Now you're making more people poor. See, that's kind of the problem. The left doesn't want everyone to be equally rich. They want everyone to be equally poor. They don't like money, and they don't want money, and they don't want anyone else to have money either. So Smith's kind of learned that over the years, just dealing with employees here, you can tell which employees are Democrats and which ones aren't. Don't care about making money, they just want to goof off. Stand around and smoke cigarettes and talk on their phone. Or just make enough to buy a case of beer and a carton of smokes and then some dip and whatever, and then you never see them again. But you know what? Another thought that Joe Smith and I had here tonight. Back to the systemic racism and justice system or whatever. Well, the white man didn't make George Floyd use drugs. The Ku Klux Klan didn't make George Floyd try and pass counterfeit bills or be involved in counterfeiting or whatever. White extreme groups, the Proud Boys or whatever. I'm not saying the Proud Boys are a white extreme group, but these white extreme groups that the Democrats keep speaking of, or other groups out there that support Trump, that aren't extremist groups, like the Proud Boys, which was kind of started as a joke originally. They aren't making these black people use drugs and steal stuff and shoplift. Okay, Ku Klux Klan ain't making black people shoot little black kids in Chicago every weekend. You going to blame all that on systemic racism, Biden? How do you blame that on systemic racism? Because of racism, blacks are out committing crimes. And then they have to suffer harsher penalties in jail. Like, well, don't commit the crime in the first time and you won't have to suffer those racist penalties in jail or whatever with the justice system. Go get a job like the rest of us. Learn how to fix lawnmowers or cars or that. Make a lot of money doing stuff like that. Or mowing lawns even. Joe Smith's buddy with the landscape company, he's paying high school dropouts $300 a day to mow lawns and can't find anyone. No college degree needed, no GED or high school diploma or nothing. You got people in their early 20s, like 19, 20, 22, 23-year-olds, making $1,000, $1,200, $1,500 a week mowing lawns. I don't say there ain't no money out there or whatever. Don't say that, well, because of the virus there ain't no money out there. Because recession 12 years ago there ain't no money. Well, during the recession 12 years ago there's still $13 trillion circulating in the U.S. economy. There's something like $15 trillion circulating now. If you need some money, go get some of that. Find the people that have it and knock on their doors. Ask to cut their grass or rake their leaves or scoop their snow in the wintertime, like Joe Smith did as a kid. Joe Smith was doing that kind of work ever since 4th grade. Joe Smith bought a new $150 Huffy mountain bike from Walmart from helping a neighbor and elementary principal do some construction and add on to his house one summer, and then other work that Joe Smith did. He bought all the tools and moped, and then his $2,500 GT mountain bike. And after If he kind of got wore out and wrecked a few times. Joe Smith bought his first Ranger from cutting grass. Just walking around neighborhood knocking on doors. Hey, can you cut your grass for 15 bucks, 20 bucks? Push an old 20-year-old used snapper push mower around the door, around the neighborhood, around the block there, knocking on doors, seeing if we could mow their yard for 15, 20 bucks, cash or that. Then carrying a broom with you to sweep the sidewalk and driveway off after mowing. Then Joe Smith went out and bought a used Ford Ranger. Like $5,000 with the money he made one summer mowing lawns. So Joe Smith can do it. Joe Smith was 9th grade dropout too, so 9th grade dropout like Joe Smith can do all this stuff and learn to be a mechanic and learn construction and why can't all these other people? Plenty of work out there. Joe Smith's buddy said that with the landscape biz says that he's been turning down probably about 50 calls a day for 18 years. He said he estimates $2 to $3 million a month in jobs turned now because can't find employees for the last 18 years to pay $1,500 a week. One at $15 an hour minimum wage, he was paying $15 an hour minimum wage 15 years ago. He's paying like $25 an hour minimum wage now. And people aren't applying even. The only emails he gets or calls he gets, he says, from people that see the ad or just call up to laugh and mock him or whatever. It's like, oh, you can't afford to pay someone $25 an hour mow lawns. You can't make money mowing lawns. Like, well, maybe you should go talk to some people that do mow lawns then. But being so ignorant. Don't judge something until you actually go out and do it. Like Joe Smith kind of said in one other video, it's like he ain't the one paying them to mow lawns. The customers are paying to get their yard mowed. No matter how much money Joe Smith's buddy has, he ain't paying. He's just getting commission for finding the yards. Like Joe Smith in the shop. Joe Smith here is just getting commission for finding the mowers to fix or the bicycles to fix for the people, for the employees. The employees are getting paid from the customers. Customers pay $80 an hour to get their bikes and mowers fixed. Joe Smith gets paid today. Joe Smith takes his commission off and then pays his half off and then pays the other half to the employee next week. Employers are basically like banks, more or less. They're just brokers taking money from one person and holding it for a week and taking off their commission and then passing the rest along to the person that done the job. So oh, it's late. Time to wrap this up. Sorry it's gone on so long, if you are still listening. But just want to kind of apologize for the naughty words and say that There is no such thing as systemic racism because nobody's forcing anyone to go commit crimes in the first place. Thanks for listening. Joe Smith signing out.